How are you guys today?
Good.
We're good.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit about how this all started. Where did the project all come together?
The project came together because I wanted to make an ensemble film with a bunch of talented actors.
And instead we did this.
That's about it, yeah. That's what happened. None of them were available.
Yeah.
And so I went into my C list.
Yeah.
And then they weren't available either, so we kept going down.
We're all kind of related to it.
No, this project came about because I wanted to do an ensemble film, and I wanted to do something that was really collaborative with a bunch of actors, and so I kind of did a backwards process where I wrote an outline with a bunch of different character stories, and then approached the cast the film, and then wrote it in collaboration with kind of their thoughts and inputs, and developed the project really quickly from that. We went from I started writing at the end of January of that year, and we were shooting in May.
Wow, that's quick. So then where did the topic of sex after kids come in? Was that something, have you had kids? Or?
Yeah, I have 2 kids and no sex. I had sex at one point, and that's how we got the kids. But no, I mean, it came about because I wanted to do an ensemble, and so I went to write a list of all the different topics that could make an interesting ensemble film, and the first thing I wrote down was sex after kids, and then I stopped because I would never come up with a better title than that. And also, I just know that world, and I have enough friends, and a lot of the cast are also new parents.
Right.
So we were able to steal their lives and put them on camera as well.
So Zoe, what was your input on this story? Where do you see yourself in part of the story? Did you contribute any lines, any thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, I think there was moments that I contributed. I don't have a personal story that I kind of brought to this really, but.
But the character a lot. I mean, you really informed kind of the growth of that character, just in kind of what was.
Did you like that sound I did there? Let's talk about that. Yes, I did inform the growth of the character. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the one thing I am amazed by is how challenged were you to do this accent throughout the entire shoot? I mean, that seems tremendous to me. I can't imagine.
Well, I mean, it helped working with Paul Amos because,
Right.
of course, I had somebody to stay in an accent with. And I am English. I was born in England, so
Right.
that helped. I was kind of able to call back on that.
This whole time, she's actually doing an accent right now. So that was easy.
But I can't really remember my own accent that I used to have.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like it's sort of, because it's yours, right? So I don't know what that means. But anyway, it was, sometimes I fell out of it and I had to fall right back on in.
Right. Well, I also love the fact that there's a trio of Lost Girl people, here at play. That must be fun, kind of doing a movie together when you've got kind of the background already.
It totally was, and also because we play such different characters than we do on the show. So to play new dynamics with certainly Chris and Paul Amos, who I have such a different relationship with on Lost Girl, was just great fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So then, as you guys made the film, did it change? Did it evolve as you made it, or was it pretty much set in stone once you had the script?
No, I mean, the whole time we were evolving. We shot for 15...
We're still evolving.
We're still evolving.
It's not
done. We shot for 15 days over the course of like 3.5 months.
Right.
We shot mostly on weekends, 2 or 3 days at a time, and so throughout the process, we were working. Like I said, I just started writing the script at the end of January, and so we were working it the whole time. And, normally you develop a script over more months to a year or however long.
Right.
But because the cast was there from the get-go, I was really able to help inform that and the characters and shaping them. And really, because I knew that we were going to be shooting, we weren't shooting Zoe's stuff really until August. I didn't really have to kill myself on that storyline until then. But we shot Amanda and Peter first. It was like those are the storylines we really need to rewrite and rework. And then, so it was kind of like rewriting in pieces as we went along. Just, further developing, knowing that we'd shot this. We didn't really end up reshooting anything. I think there was just a couple little pieces where I was like, oh, I need more of a connector there, so we'll just pick this up another day when we're doing that. But nothing, we didn't do any reshoots or anything like that. Everything was from the original days. Because these guys are awesome.
Well, on that topic, how did you find the shoot? What was it like working with the script and working with this team?
More fun than I've had in in a long time. Like, it was just so much fun, you know, we really had a good time. And it felt a bit like acting camp for me. We were just really, it was just a pleasure, you know, it was a lot of fun, and we just kind of went with it, and I don't know, I loved it, I had a great time.
What would you say your insight is into her as a character? Because obviously there's quite a deep history there with her brother and with everything else, and you know, what did you think about her before you even started?
I don't know, I think that I've sort of said this before, but I like the idea of, I think everybody in the world is trying really hard. Like, I think it's kind of a human thing, is that everyone's really trying. And she's somebody who really tries, but it doesn't ever kind of work out for her.
Right.
Like, she just doesn't ever quite get it right. And there's something that's sort of heartbreaking about it and also really funny about it. And I love playing that line. Like, I really enjoyed playing that line with her of like, what the things that were the funniest were also sort of the most heartbreaking about her. And I liked that, I think.
I'm curious if where would you imagine her after the film ends? Where do you think she is in like 5 years?
I think she has more kids. I think she's got at least 2 more kids, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
Because she thinks she's got it down now.
Yeah.
And then realizes,
she just
2
messes
is
them
way
all up
different.
differently.
So the sequel, in other words, will delve into more kids.
That's right.
Lou will have a slew of them, all with different fathers.
That's right. One of them will have a Jamaican accent.
You know.
Because they're born with that.
Yeah, they're born with that. There's no like nature, nurture, or anything.
Nope.
It's just
You get the accent you get.
that's how it works.
So, I mean, in terms of actually, releasing a film in Canada these days, you know, indie films, what's that like? Because it seems to have changed and evolved over the years.
Yeah, I mean, everything's changing when it comes to releasing a film. It's just like, it's hard to compete with films that have budgets larger than the films themselves.
Right.
Even if that was the case with us, we still wouldn't have that large of a marketing budget. So for us, it's a lot of, we were lucky we did crowdfunding, and so we had like a really awesome army of support from the get-go. And that's been following and growing as we go along. So that's been really, really helpful. And then it's a lot of word of mouth. We did the festival circuit for a year, and we collected 2 awards through that. We screened at 7 festivals, I believe.
Wow.
And had sold out audiences all the way along, and it was a real crowd pleaser. And so we've gotten a lot of really positive buzz from that. And I think that's kind of what you need going into an indie release. You need to have that momentum, otherwise it's hard to continue the conversation.
Has crowdfunding changed the way films are made, do you think, at this point? Is it easier now to try and get crowdfunding over some of the government and other corporate funds?
Well, I mean, it's
not to get too technical here, but
sure.
I'm curious.
I think it depends on the film, really,
right.
and how you approach it. It's a really complicated subject. But I think in terms of the funding, I mean, it really puts you in charge of whether or not you get the funding, because, I mean, if you apply to the traditional funding boards, you do as much work as you can to put your package together, but then it's kind of up in the air.
Right.
Where it's like, if you go crowdfunding, it really is reliant on you. I mean, it's funny that there's a lot of argument and debate over whether or not, celebrities should be able to use crowdfunding, because it's like, technically they should have access to that money. And I think that's...
Zach Braff was a good example, yeah.
And he got a lot of crap for it, and I don't agree with that. I mean, I think that ideology would mean that there's like a set amount of crowdfunding dollars, and there isn't. It's like, if people want to give money to anything, they can. There's no like cap to how much crowdfunding money can be dispersed in a year, because it's coming from people.
You know what I noticed though is that, right, wrong, or otherwise, the sense of responsibility I felt knowing that the money had come from these people who had donated it, I did feel a heightened sense of responsibility to really give them something that they felt
proud about.
Yeah, that I'm glad I contributed to that.
Right.
And I don't know, because money comes from all kinds of places when you're making a film, and so I suppose you should feel like that all the time. But I don't.
Give a shit.
But anyway, I did feel that. I did feel sort of like, wow, there are people that are donating their hard-earned dollars, and I really want to make sure that we are giving them something.
Well, particularly a Canadian film, because that's still kind of a rising thing, and there's not that many indie Canadian films that hit across Canada, really. Well, thank you guys. I mean, very, very cool film.
Oh, thank you so much.